Hi, welcome to another tutorial video. In this video I'm going to show you how to set up a fresh clean install of the Kinetic mouse for a racing game called Asphalt 8. It's a free game, you can download it from the Windows 8 store. So what you want to do first is to create a new profile for each setup you're going to create for a specific application. So a profile is a set of settings very specific for one application. So normally what you want to do is to have a profile for each game you are going to play using the Kinetic mouse. So you can do that by going to File menu, Save as New Profile, and enter a name. In this case I will enter Asphalt 8 and hit Save. So what you can see now is that the Kinetic mouse is already in the new profile. On top here it says Asphalt 8, that's the profile name. So the next thing what we want to do is to disable all the controls we are not going to need in this application. So per default a few mouse buttons are already active, and we make sure that those are disabled by going to Settings, Mouse Preferences. And then here we can see that actually the left click and the right click and the double click are enabled per default. We are going to disable those, all of them, by unchecking the enable mouse buttons check mark. Also make sure that the mouse wheel is disabled and all our mouse modes are disabled when all these buttons here on the right are deactivated. So that's the first thing you want to do, disable all the controls you are not going to need in the application. So next I will check out the controls of the game. What options do we have for controlling the game? I will switch over to Asphalt 8, go to the settings, controls. There we can see we have two control modes that are related to a tablet. We cannot, or we don't use those, but here we have the keyboard controls. That's perfect. The Kinetic mouse can simulate keyboard, mouse and joystick input. So what we can see here is the keyboards keys that are used for control. So we have W, A, D and S, and for the nitro we need the spacebar. So we have 4 keys and the spacebar to use, and let's switch back. So what we're going to need next is to set up our signals that we are going to use for controlling these keys. So let's go to Settings, Signal Preferences, and what I will use is, let me uncheck this to display other ones. I will use mouse smile left for controlling my left steer. So I will visualize the signal, perform a few motions, and then adjust the signal bounce. So I could not reach the top with my signal, so let me lower the upper bound. Perfect. Just a little bit more, and maybe raise the lower bound a little bit. I'm going to do the same with my mouse smile right for the right steer. Let me also display this in the signal monitor over here. Perfect. And the next thing, I want to use my lips pucker for either braking or the nitro. So let's display this. Okay, it's already fairly good, but let me also decrease this to have this nice and sharp signal. So I will use my jaw open for braking. Let me go to jaw open, also display this. Okay, we have some mouse some interference with the mouse my right here. So I will have to increase the lower bound of the mouse my right. Let me also do this. The mouse my left. Okay, perfect. And let's also adjust these bounds a little bit lower so that I can reach the top. Okay, perfect. So now that I've configured my signals, I'm going to head over to the settings tab and actually set up the keyboard keys that we are going to use. So we add a new keyboard key assignment, and the next thing we want to assign is the steer left key. So I'm going to select my mouse my left signal. The threshold means at which level of the signal the key will actually trigger. So 0.5 here would actually trigger the key. You can leave it at default. It's a very good setting for the beginning. If you want to have it more sensitive, you can lower this, or more coarse, you can heighten this threshold. Then hit assign key, and I press the real physical key for actually assigning the A key. And the next thing we want to choose from is how the key should behave when the signal reaches the threshold. So we have three options. Press once. This will actually hit the key once and release it immediately. So we don't want that in the racing game, because as long as I keep my mouse my left signal, I want it to hold the key down. So we have the hold option. The toggle option is a third option, just for the sake of completeness. If the signal goes beyond the threshold, this will enable the key, and then you can release the facial expression and perform it again to disable the key. But for this racing game, the hold key is the perfect match. So let's add the other ones. So mouse my right for the right steering, mouse my right. Okay, assign the D key and also hold. Then we add the nitro, which I'm going to bind to my lips pucker. And nitro is spacebar, it's spacebar. And actually this one we can leave to press once, because the nitro in the game is actually activated by just hitting the key once. And now we want the brakes. Add new, jaw open, and assign the S key, which is going to brake the car, and also hold. Okay, so now that we've set up our keys, we can actually test them very well by opening the notepad. And this is a simple text editing tool, and we can test our setup by performing the motions, and we can see that it writes the letters that I've assigned to my setup into the notepad. So now that we've tested this, we can switch over to the game, Asphalt 8, and let's drive. Okay, perfect. So that's it for the tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and as I said, the game is for free. You can download it and give it a try.